Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Gran Turismo 7 for the PS4. GT7 is a racing game developed by Polyphony Digital. So what is it like to play? Well, like any racing game, controls are pretty easy to pick up. The game starts out slowly, unlocking different parts of the hub map, from the cafe where you can pick up assignments, to the racetrack and other things like car showrooms, tuning locations and several other options. Early on, you'll be grinding your way through the slow progression loop. You'll be competing in standard races, driving cars that your granny would love, saving up credits to buy a new car or to tune your existing ones. One issue I had early on was an assignment that required me to spend lots of credits that I'd earned through races to tune a car I had zero interest in owning. Why can't I just focus on the cars that I want to use? Talking about cars, there's so many cars in the game. It's a very impressive collection of European, American and Japanese cars. You know, if you like all those, they're very well catered for. These cars can be tuned to a fine degree. So if you're a proper car nerd, you'll have a great time. But most of us will look at the tuning screens the way we used to look at our school homework. No thank you, I'll do it on Sunday night. Right, in terms of course variety, there's lots to unlock, but I can't say that the majority of them look or drive particularly well. You know, they weren't very interesting courses. It's one area where GT7 struggles. It tries to be too realistic. Realism is great, but it's not really why we play games, is it? Let's be honest. This game desperately needs more fun elements, and the presentation also is so flat and so dry. It's incredibly underwhelming. It's a very conservative game, a very Japanese game, especially when compared to something like Forza Horizon 5, a game that revolutionised the feel of racing games for me when I played it recently. So the cars and the tracks aside, what else? You've also got licenses to unlock. Now the licenses, they're a good way of helping people improve their skills. Think of them like long-winded, kind of quite dull tutorials, but you know, it does feel a bit slow and archaic. I feel like they could have done a better way of making you progress rather than these quite dull licenses. It's one area the game suffers, you know, instantaneous entertainment. This game doesn't do that. This game does kind of like an old, tired, dusty vibe in terms of what driving is to the people who make it. It really needs some fresh blood to rejuvenate this franchise. Another area that's quite sad in GT7 is the feature of monetization by way of virtual currency that you can buy with real money. Oh, wonderful. 1 million credits cost you about £12 in the UK, and it's a sad day for me to see the Sony flagship title go down this road. It's a really cheap move in every way, as the core gameplay really did feel manipulated to give you less credits early on, meaning if you want a nice car or good mods, you're going to have to grind for hours and hours. Or, oh no, I'll tell you what, here, just give us some real money and you can have the car so you don't actually have to play the game for as long. This is one of the game's biggest flaws. It's a long-winded grind fest of an experience that's really focused on the monetization. Now, if the racing in this game was fun, exciting or sexy, it wouldn't be as much of an issue, but it really isn't. You know, there is no payoff here. It's a grind, spend credits, grind, credits, grind, yawn. I mean, it took me 3 hours, to put this into context, it took me 3 hours of play so that I could unlock the ability to paint my car. 3 hours? Are you serious? The addition, you know, the addition of the monetization is just a poor move, but the whole game in itself has got some serious problems. It's way too dry for a video game about racing. You know, it lacks any of that excitement or that kind of blood-pumping adrenaline that you get with real racing. Anyone who's driven a car or raced a car, I feel like the people who've made this game have never been in a car in their life. That's what it feels like to me. The base graphics, they're okay. Cars look nice, tracks are passable, but again, presentation, very bland, very dull menus. Add to that, the crowd, awful. Like, they may as well not be there. In terms of the audio, I would say it's also the worst collection of music that I've ever heard in a racing game. It's music selected by an old granddad, easy listening, elevator music. Where's the raw, powerful music that you get, you know, with proper racing games? I just don't get it. Where's all the modern tracks? It's just appalling. It's without doubt the most ill-suited soundtrack that I've heard in recent times. Also, you know, you have these like tutorial characters run throughout the game, like people like Bob and John and Maggie. I just made that up, but you know, you have these photos on screen with people and then you have to read all the text. Like, couldn't they afford voice actors to do that? It would at least bring it to life a bit, but it's really just indicative of the whole game. And the crowd sounds as well, like racing in a morgue. Poor audio, in keeping with most of the game, to be perfectly honest. Right, good and bad points. Well, I think we know where this one's going. Good points. The car and track variety are good. The licenses, they're a solid tutorial system. And the tuning options are amazing if you're a car nerd. Right, bad points. Let me take a breath. The presentation is dry, tired, and outdated. The music is the worst I've ever heard in a racing game. It's a grind fest to acquire currency, and monetization is a sad addition to an already struggling game. The game is far too long-winded, taking an age to do anything, from getting a nice car, tuning it, or let's wait 3 hours to spray paint it, shall we? No, let's not. But the biggest issue is the racing itself. There's no excitement. There's poor AI, drivers who drive like robots, and it's the least sexy racing game I've ever played. Cars are supposed to be cool. This game does not understand that one iota. Right, so what's the verdict? GT7, one of the dullest racing games that I've ever played. From the old and uninspired presentation, the slow nature of your progression, the turgid and uneventful races with drab AI, or the obtuse virtual currency, which frankly is disgusting. The game deliberately overprices everything, meaning that you have to do more grinding to purchase cars or upgrades. But you can always go to the store and buy real credits with real money. Really? Really, Sony? A full price game and you're going to monetize it like this? You absolute pieces of shit. The main takeaway I had from GT7 was it made me want to go play games like Forza 5, Wreckfest, Wipeout, because those are proper racing games. This is like dust. This is like breathing in loads of dust and it just leaves you coughing for days. It's a game, feels like it's made by old men for old men. No style, no flair, lacking ideas, no excitement at all, and to top it off, they want extra money for the privilege of having to avoid the grind. No thank you. Here's a tip, don't buy the game in the first place, and then you won't need to spend VC to skip it. Save your money, buy something like Wreckfest, Forza 5. This GT7, bang average, bang average, outdated, tired, don't bother, save your money. Another thing that I think needs to be pointed out, like I picked this up in a second-hand store. Now, when you go to a second-hand gaming store and you walk in and on the shelf you see a pretty new release and you see about 30 copies of it and they're all second-hand, you just think to yourself, I wonder why that could be. Oh look, there's Avengers as well. Anyway, that's another review. Anyway, sort your life out, Sony. This is pathetic. I mean, I just don't know what you're trying to do because who's this appealing to? It's not appealing to the young generation, it's not appealing to people who like fun. I really don't get it. Stuffy, dull, yawn, goodbye. So my score for Gran Turismo 7, what have I put here? I put 5.5. No, I would give it a 5. Because, yeah, there's some good qualities, but it's such a disaster of a product. Really, really poor. Don't bother. I'm so delighted I don't have to play it anymore. Okay, there you go. That was the review. Thank you for watching. I need a drink. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, Patreon. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.